Hey YouTube, this is Chris from Canine. Today I'm going to be going over the different types of collars out there and how to use each one properly. I'm going to give you my own little personal review. The first collar we're going to go over today is the choke collar, and it does just what its name suggests. It's a chain with two loops on the end. You can also get them made out of rope as well. They just don't slide quite as well. And when you offer correction to the dog, it constricts on the neck. I'm not a huge proponent of choke collars because when they're used improperly, they do more harm than good, or they don't offer any level of communication with the dog. All collars, the variations, prong, pinch, a harness, they all offer a different level of communication with the dog, and ultimately that's what we use training collars for. It's to communicate what we feel the dog is doing properly or improperly. It can be used for both purposes. When offering a correction with a choke collar, a lot of people make the mistake and let the dog just hit the end of it, and they don't actually give the dog a correction. The dog hits the end and starts choking itself. They just keep pulling and pulling and pulling. That is improper use of a choke collar. A proper correction on a choke collar should be very quick, fast, and done, just like that. When that happens, it tells the dog that's not okay, get back here, or knock that behavior off. First saber choke collar is essentially just a longer choke collar, or a longer linked choke collar. As you can see, the links are much bigger, but it does the exact same thing. I personally like these first saber collars better than I like your standard choke collars. And it's just a personal preference. I think that they're smoother and move better and offer a quicker on-off reaction for the correction. The collar that I want to go over with you guys is the prong collar or the pinch collar. This collar, a lot of people get wide-eyed and weirded out the first time they see it. There's people who think that this is a torture device for dogs. They're wrong. Prong collar is probably the most effective communication tool when training to a dog. If you look at how dogs interact with each other, when one dog gets out of line, the other dog snaps and bites it on the neck. Real quick, fast, not enough to cause any damage, but that communicates with that other dog, that's enough, please stop. The prong collar does the exact same thing. It has these prongs on it which mimic dogs' teeth, and the correction is very similar to that with the choke collar, depending on what you're actually correcting. There's two rings on the pinch collar. You have your live ring, which is typically flat, and the outside of the collar, and then you have a dead ring, which is on the inside of the collar and is round. Now, when you put it on the dead ring and the live ring, which makes the collar dead, it doesn't offer any constriction. When you go just to the live ring, it offers constriction, which is a more serious correction and more communication with the dog. I'm going to do something I do with all of my clients because they think that this is going to hurt their dog the first time they put it on. They're very skeptical at first because it does look like a medieval torture device. Now, I've got it on my arm, and I don't have any fur to protect me. Dogs all have a little bit of fur to protect them, and so they actually receive less of a correction than I'm about to give myself. So I'm just going to pull on this real hard, and I'm not going to let go. And this is not the proper correction you should give to your dog, but for the demonstration purposes, this is what I'm going to do. Now, I held that on there for 2 or 3 seconds, and as you can see, I'm not bleeding, I'm not broken, I'm not crying. I've got a little bit of pressure in my skin, and you can see those little holes from the prongs. Again, that collar didn't hurt me, and your dog is much tougher than you think they are 99% of the time. With e-collars, they're very simple. Concept is very easy. Most of you already know what this does. But you have your receiver, which goes around the dog's neck, and then you have your transmitter here. This is a Dogtra e-collar. I'm a huge fan of Dogtra. Over 99% of the other e-collars out there, they just make a very high quality product. When you're offering a correction with the e-collar, you typically have two different modes. You have your nick mode and you have your continuous mode. Now, depending on the dog's behavior and what you're actually correcting will depend on which mode you're. So, the next step is I'm going to go get one of my dogs. I'm going to put this stuff off to the side, and I'm going to show you how each collar should be placed on the dog. We're going to go over the choke collar, the pinch collar, flat collar, e-collar, harness, very self-simple, we'll go over it anyway. And we'll go over how to offer a correction to the dog while you're wearing, or while they have a specific collar on. If you're watching this video and you are still unsure about the proper correction technique when using any of these collars, consult a trainer. They know what they're doing and they will help you reach your training goals. If you try and just go at it on your own, I'm sure that you can do it, but it is much quicker, much more efficient, and better for you and your dog to just talk to a trainer. Let's get started with the flat collar. Flat collars are just that. They are a flat collar. There's no availability for constriction, there's no prongs, there's nothing. It goes around the dog's neck and it stays there. This is the collar that holds your dog's tags and you take them on a walk with. It's not necessarily a training collar. When I'm working with my dogs, they almost always have a flat collar on, and then I add a training collar on top of it when we're training. That gets them to the point where it doesn't matter what collar I have them on, they aren't going to discriminate the collar. If you only put a flat collar on your dog all the time and then take it off just when you're training, they'll start to discriminate. Oh, I'm getting a pinch collar put on me, that means I'm training, I'm going to be good. But as soon as that flat collar goes back on, I don't care. It's just an elimination tool for those potential problems. That's one variation of flat collar. This is another variation with a handle on the back. This I use with agitation work because the handle makes it very easy to control the dog. And again, as soon as this is put on your dog, there's no correction capability. So with a flat collar, your communication with the dog is drastically reduced. Not to say that it's not there, but it is drastically reduced from using a training collar. Alright guys, the first collar I'm going to go over is the choke collar. So I'm going to show you where to properly place it on your dog and how to offer a proper correction. When placing the collar on your dog, it slides over their head, and then you will attach the leash to the loop that is not, the chain is not going through. Your collar should be up high, right underneath the bottom of their jaw. If you can see, I know he's black, but his collar's up nice and high, and that's where I always keep my collars. Every collar should be up nice and high so you have the best communication with your dog. Now, when you're offering a correction, I'm going to try and get him to mess up, and I'm not going to give him that hard of a correction, but I'll give you the general guidelines on how you should. Oh, hooligan. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. Hooligan. Hooligan. As you can see, very quick, small corrections. It's just like that. Zita. And it offers a good communication level with him. Now we're going to move on to the pinch collar. A little bit more complicated to put on, especially if you've got a squirmy dog. Pinch collar, first thing you got to do is take it apart if you don't have one of the quick connect snaps. Squeeze and pop it off. Now you have to go around his neck, squeeze, and put it back through the loop that it just came out of. Again, my collar is up nice and high right underneath the bottom of his jaw, and on the back side it's right below his ears. Now he's on the live ring, so it's going to offer more of a correction than it would if it's on the dead ring. Eros. Hooligan. Good boy. Hooligan. As you can see, it's the same type of correction, and I'm not putting a lot into it. It's just a very quick, hey, pay attention, and then it's off. If you need to, like him, he's a whiner. One of the things with him is when he's whining really bad, I do need to tell him, hey, you need to be quiet. So I do pull up on the collar and I leave it on for just a second. As soon as he's quiet, the pressure comes off. Good boy. Now I'm going to go over a flat collar with you guys. Again, these collars don't offer a large amount of communication with you and your dog. So I've got it on him, it's nice and tight, it's up as high as it'll go. This is a 2-inch wide collar, so it doesn't go as high as the other ones. And when I put him on it, he's ready to rock. Okay, good boy. This collar, I do need to offer more of a correction. He doesn't care nearly as much as he does with the pinch collar. It's because it doesn't offer the same amount of communication. I can still pull him and get him where I want him to be, but it takes a little bit more for me to do so. And he will pull against the collar, and it's not uncomfortable for him, so he's more likely to do it, which is fine. I used this collar specifically for that reason. Now this is an E-collar, really simple to put on. It's just like a flat collar. You go around the neck, lock it down, and once you're done, it should be on the side of their neck, right here. You're not looking to be right in the front or on the back or on the direct side. It's going to be right next to their trachea, and when you need to offer a correction, I'm not going to do it with him. You just need to hit the button. Now with the harness, it's a little bit more complicated to put on, just because they don't necessarily like things going over their head. As soon as it's on, come through, strap it on the back. Gotten a little fat. Good boy. And now he's on the harness. Hooligan. Good boy. No. And now he's all strapped up. He's ready to go. This is not uncomfortable for him. He's fine. There's no correction being given. I can tell him to go out and bark at somebody, and he'll hit the end of the harness, and it just kind of stops him. But it doesn't offer a correction. It's not to the point where it's uncomfortable for him to do so. Alright guys, that's all I got for you. Me and my bud are out. We're going to let you guys think on this video. I hope that you got something useful out of it. If not, you should have. Anyway, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I helped you out. Let me know anything you want to let me know, really. And you can subscribe to my channel. We've got some new things coming up. We've got the handler protection course. We're going to be doing a mock trial for that. We're going to be doing just some protection training. And then I'll be giving obedience tips and tricks here coming up pretty soon too. Just got to get the format for that built out. And what let me know what you guys want. If you guys need to learn how to teach your dog to sit, you need to learn how your dog is peeing on the carpet all the time. Let me know what your problems are, and I will get back to you, and I will help. I'll create videos specifically for you. You just got to let me know. See you guys.